All right, here we go. And so, yes, I absolutely said yes to Naomi and was really thrilled that she reached out to me in the first place. But I was like, what the heck does success really mean? So, if you guys have a notebook, maybe take a couple of notes down really quickly on what does success mean to you personally? Now, if it means making a whole lot of money, in the yoga industry right now, that I'm not your girl. I have not made a ton of money and I'm not living off of teaching yoga. And you guys will get to know me a little bit better throughout this talk and know where a lot of my income has come from. And it's not the yoga industry yet. It's been a long process of developing our website and different things. So, but success to me means it's a quality of life. So, why did we start yoga in the first place? What did we find through yoga? And that is really where the success for me lies, is those feelings that yoga brought to me in the first place. So I got my 200-hour yoga teacher training in finished in 2015 here in Eugene, Oregon. I'm on the West Coast, different time zones. And I'm also going to share also why I'm talking to you guys in Boise from Eugene. But in 2015, my husband and I were running a successful business. Many of you have probably heard of Dutch Bros Coffee. Raise your hand if you've heard of Dutch Bros. Yeah, holla. I'm definitely drinking it right now. But we owned and operated 7 Dutch Bros coffee locations, and we had over 150 employees. And so it was really synchronistic because I was like practicing yoga consistently because it was helping me so much on my own path to healing. And then my teacher was like, hey, maybe you want to do a yoga teacher training. I'm like, what, me? I can't be a yoga teacher, but okay, sure, I'll do it. And so the day before I started my yoga teacher training, I was reading through my college journal. I graduated from the U of O like 6 years prior in psychology. But my freshman year of college was like very, very depressing. I don't know if any of you have experienced depression in your life, but it hit me really hard my freshman year of college. And I took my first yoga class in college, and I was also doing therapy. And so the day before I started my YTT, I was reading in my journal and I wrote down literally, the only thing that's helping me right now is yoga. And I had chills down my spine. I was like, holy smokes, like I am on the right path. This is really good. So has anybody else done a lot of self-healing through yoga? Yeah, that's probably why we're all here, right? We've experienced healing. So immediately after graduating with my 200-hour, I got insurance. So this is a really important topic. You need to be insured as a yoga practitioner and a teacher, or not as a practitioner. You need to be insured as a teacher. And the studio I taught at actually required me to have insurance. But since we were running our Dutch Bros franchise, I was hoping to lead yoga for our team members, and I was doing it in our warehouse. So I needed to have separate insurance for our people or for myself, so that in case anybody got injured in our business, then I would be liable instead of the entire DB Eugene LLC. So it's very important to have separate insurance if you are planning on teaching within your own business, if you have a business currently. So there was something missing at Dutch Bros that I noticed. Now we have these really large summit gatherings where franchisees come together, and there's a lot of inspiring talks, and there's a lot of fancy dinners and a lot of late night partying. So I had a really great time being a franchisee at Dutch Bros. But the one thing that was missing was company wellness. And I brought up the idea after graduating, just literally weeks after. And I was like, you know what? We really need to have some company wellness here. And what if I led yoga for our summit meeting? And the CEO, he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I said, okay, well, cool. I think $10 a person would work if you guys are cool with paying that. And he's like, yeah, sure. Okay, 10 bucks a person sounds good. Well, they didn't realize I was going to have over 100 people for both of my throughout the weekend. So I did 2 classes and each class had about 50 people. So I made about $1,000 just by asking, and they paid me. And I was like, wow, okay, that was amazing. But I haven't been just rolling in the dough throughout the process. I had to ask for that, and I also had to invoice for that. So I did a lot of work to actually get paid. I also provided the majority of the yoga props. So I didn't actually profit $1,000. I spent about $600 on yoga mats, which I still have now today that I'm able to use for other events. So investing in a nice grip of mats, because not everybody that wants to try yoga is going to bring their own mats to a class. We still got more people coming in. Hello, good morning. Yay. So I'm just going to keep rolling with it, and then you guys can watch the replay. So the ask is really important. And I had just spent a lot of money on, I'm muting everybody here. Sweet. I just spent a lot of money on my yoga teacher training, and I know all of you guys have spent a lot of money investing in yourself as well. So it's important to start asking to get paid for your teaching. It's very important once you get your certification. So, but I did offer, I continue to offer free classes to my franchise, and it was something that we included as a wellness program for our employees, and people loved it. And Dutch Bros employees, let me tell you, are the best practitioners ever. They're so much fun and so playful. Aside from people that go to Burning Man, Dutch Bros people are really, really fun to teach for. So let's see here. I'm following my notes here. Now, after getting my teacher training, just about 6 months later, I was continuing to teach just about on a weekly basis, but I wasn't running around teaching 20 classes a week since I was also running a franchise. So my yoga career was a side unhustle instead of like a side hustle, because we're all hustling around, but yoga is actually unhustling ourselves. So I'll call it my side unhustle. And just like 6 months after getting my teacher training, a friend of mine who lives in Nicaragua reached out to me, and she's like, hey, you've got a great network where you live. Do you think that we could host a retreat together? And I was like, that sounds awesome. She was also a teacher. She's had a lot of experience. And then she also hosts retreats in Nicaragua. So I said yes. And we hosted my first international retreat in 2017. And it didn't just magically fill up. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more too. So during that retreat, we also manifested another retreat that we wanted to host, a winter retreat, and that came to fruition in 2019. So in order to fill up these retreats, I reached out to my network of people. Nearly everybody that has come on my retreat has been through my network. No matter how much I've like boosted my posts on Instagram or advertised, I have not gotten a single random stranger. So I've reached out to my network personally. And I've also utilized my resources at DB, and they actually raffled off a couple of my retreats during their company party. So if you have a business that you work with and a big network, reaching out to your network is really, really important if you are hoping to fill some spaces. So then in 2017, somebody was like, hey, you should start an Instagram for your yoga. And I'm like, well, why would I do that? Why would I want to do that? And the person was like, I want to know where I can find you and when you're teaching. And he's like, it's a great opportunity to separate your personal page to having a separate business page so people can see your offerings. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it, with a little bit of resistance. Like, who and self-questioning, self-doubt, those different questions. And we're going to talk about that as well. So after emphasizing and talking to the right people about the importance of employee and business health specifically, and anxiety for young demographics, in 2017, I was asked to lead pranayama, so breath practice, for a group of 2,000 Dutch Bros employees at an event called Kocha. And being able to get in front of a large crowd like that, yes, it was very intimidating, but I was like, I know these kids need this. And they're all between the ages of like 17 and 25. So I find it really important that these young people get to learn these practices. And it was in that same summer of 2017 that I met Marissa Rada Wepner. She taught at What the Festival, this festival that was happening here in Oregon. It's actually no longer, sad day. But she led this beautiful class called Sat Chit Ananda. And I loved her teaching so much. I loved the class so much that right afterward, I approached her and got her business card and just, showed my appreciation and continued to hold on to that card. And then eventually I ended up joining the 300-hour YTT in Boise. So in that same year of 2017, I had been trained in energy work, and I also have been trained in pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And then I also work with essential oils. So I had all of these offerings, and then I needed a place to put them all. And I needed to figure out like what's my messaging and how do I reach people that might want these things. And so my friend was creating websites at the time. So I ended up hiring her. I didn't have the time to sit and learn Squarespace or the other platforms that you can get websites done. So I ended up hiring her since I was still running a business at the time. And she really broke it down very simply for me to, we actually used Google Drive. And if you guys want to know more details about the how, you can reach out to me, and I'm an open book about sharing how I did that. So in 2018, we actually launched the website, and I learned so much about online offerings through that process. We then found, since we were creating the website, it needed to be really official. So the same business lawyer that we utilized for Dutch Bros helped me develop a separate LLC, a limited liability company, our terms and conditions for the website, and a quality waiver for our retreats, for my PEMF offerings, yoga, and the energy work sessions. So I really needed a separate company than what we were doing with Dutch Bros, so that if anybody were to, seek legal counsel against us, our entire business and entire entity is not liable. It's just Be Zen Wellness LLC that's liable. Very important. And so in 2018, that's when I enrolled in the Sage Yoga School. And I had already done some continuing education through my other yoga cohorts that I did my 200-hour through. But I don't know about the rest of you, but Sage has this really special feeling, and Radha has something really special about her. And you guys should all just feel, and all of the other teachers too that she works with, that's what really drew me to her, is her level of collaboration and all of the different professionals that she works with and people that she's also an open book and likes to share as well. So something really sudden happened in August of 2017, some unforeseen circumstances, and I'm also open to sharing those, but I don't want to go into too many details. But we sold our Dutch Bros franchise back to the business. And it was at that point that my best friend was like, all right, it's time to step up. Now, Be Zen Wellness is your main gig. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to saddle up and we're going to do this. And that's when I hired a coach. So I needed some guidance so that I could gain clarity on our messaging, work on my self-limiting beliefs, and also ask for money for my work. So things like old belief patterns, like who am I to think that I can create a wellness business? Putting myself out to the world is scary. People might judge me. Who would want to give me their money? Am I worthy of success in the industry? And my coach really helped me with my mindset around it. Um, so if you guys have never worked with a coach, I really highly suggest it. Um, and from there, my coach introduced me to another coach. Her name is Liz Dennery Sanders with She Brand. And it was a 6-month branding program. And I'm going to show you right now what we created in that program so that you can see how we developed our messaging. So let's see. I'm going to share my screen with you. Can you guys see that? Give me a thumbs up. Yay! Oh, wait, this is the end of it. Okay, so this is a brand handbook, and what Liz Dennery Sanders helped us create over this 6-month time period. Now, there's a full about section. So at Bees and Wellness, we help people feel better in their bodies. And we're a wellness brand dedicated to healing from the inside out. We help compassionate leaders, specifically millennial leaders, learn radical self-care through these different modalities that we offer: PEMF therapy, energy work, retreats. And my husband is a certified life coach, so he offers coaching in the business. And with a combined 15 years of running a successful business of over 150 team members, so drawing in our experience and expertise from Dutch Bros, we're here to help leaders and entrepreneurs who are looking to feel better in their bodies and lead their business with a more conscious, holistic approach. It's up to us as leaders to demonstrate a healthful approach to life. And then here's an about section. And if you guys drop your email in the comments, I'd be happy to share my brand handbook with you. I'm not going to read through everything, but I just wanted you to get a little taste. So I've got a blurb with my whole bio here, and then Jonah's bio here. And then we have some brand attributes, so different, a taste of what our brand is all about. We're radical, we're vibrant, approachable, joyful, energetic, healthy, wise, leaders, dazzling. And these are just some descriptive words about our brand. Our tagline is a quote from Don Miguel Ruiz: "Your body will never lie to you. Our minds will play tricks, but what we feel in our guts, in our bodies, is the truth." Our brand promise: we help compassionate leaders learn radical self-care through PEMF yoga, PEMF therapy, yoga, meditation, energy work, coaching, and retreats. Our mission statement: we help compassionate leaders on their path to living vibrantly to change the trajectory of their business, their people, and their lives. And then we've got our brand personality and voice. And then our ideal client. So we all want to identify who is our client. And we are really, so millennials, that age group from 1981 to 1996. And the compassionate leader who puts everyone first and is struggling to create time to take care of themselves, something that we struggled with through Dutch Bros, hence the reason why we want to help people learn so that they don't have to learn the hard way of experiencing burnout and different things. The leader who only takes time off when they're sick, the leader who struggles with setting time aside to travel and spend time with loved ones, and the leader who feels guilty for taking care and loving themselves and who want to change. And then here's our style guide. So it's got our brand font, our logo, the color that you might see if you look at our website. And if somebody were to feature us, then they would be able to use the specific colors in our branding. Coming back to you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Um, Sweet. So on our retreat this year, we offered a retreat in Belize. We teamed up with a company called Trova Trip, who I met through our lawyer and I followed up with consistently. So the lawyer made the connection and I followed up. And that follow up is really, really important if somebody drops an introduction, right? So, talk about utilizing resources and networking. It came from our lawyer, and I reached out, and then we brought it to fruition and hosted a retreat with these guys. Um, and it was on a private island in Belize, just weeks prior to the COVID-19 situation that hit. So we were really lucky to be able to be out of the country and come back safely and healthfully. And then just 2 weeks ago, we launched our first online offering. I mentioned it earlier. It's called Welcome Home. And it was merely a seed that was planted last year by our web designer. And then I took action on getting the content last June. So I gathered all the content, the videos, the photos over a long weekend with a videographer friend that came and stayed at our house. And then life happened and we were planning our retreat in Belize, and then we were traveling. And then all of a sudden, after our retreat, I'm like, I really need to get this welcome home staycation yoga retreat out to the people. Like, people need it. And then COVID-19 hit, and I'm like, oh, wow, people really, really need it. So then I took massive action to get that out to the people. So, how did we present it? And those of you that share your email, I will also send you the link on browsing through it. I'm not going to show you just for time's sake. So how do we present it? We sent it out to our mailing list. And we started creating our list when we launched our website, blog, and newsletter. And it was the same time that we started our website that our web designer is like, okay, well, why would you want people to come to your website? So first you want people to be able to see the offerings, but what is going to continually draw them back? Now we send a newsletter consistently every week. Get everybody. Sweet. We send a newsletter out consistently every Tuesday, so you can expect something in your inbox every Tuesday, just something inspiring, a question to maybe ponder, or maybe something that's coming up. And then we have a link that will take you to further reading onto our blog on our website. So there's always this call to action. So check out the blog, or you can check out our Instagram to see this like recent video that we posted. But having the newsletter and then having the blog constantly being updated, it's drawing people back to the website so that they're able to see our offerings. So the next time we launch another retreat, I'm not just scrambling out to my network. I actually can just send an email, and I'm just collecting a list continuously. So here's my number. I think there's like 12 tips on creating a yoga business from dream to reality. So thanks for listening to my long-winded story. And we are going to go a little bit over time. So if you have to hop off, no worries at all. And you can just watch the recording. So my first tip is patience. Write that down, people. Patience is so important. It's been 5 years since I became a certified yoga teacher. It's a lifetime practice and therefore a lifetime job and career if you choose to step into it, right? It's a choice. And some people that do their 200-hour YTT, it's really to learn more and discover about themselves and dive deeper into the practice. The business does not always have to happen, right? So you really have to make that choice for yourself. It's about long-term gratification, not short-term, and about a quality of life. So anytime you're creating something, and also plan for it to take a little longer than expected, especially if you're working with technology, and don't start everything at once. So I didn't just jump into creating a website right after my 200-hour. Take your time so you can digest and find your voice. But one, especially if you're in the 200-hour program, this is really important. My next piece of advice is to start teaching right away. So you've heard the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. And you heard that I got paid like pretty well for my first like really big offering, my first teaching. Now, that was because I was practicing and I was ready to start teaching. So just begin to find your voice. And I know it's awkward at first to teach to a quiet room, but get used to using your voice. Open up that throat chakra. And don't let fear of public speaking take you over. Step into the arena and be truthful. It's okay to tell people that you're a new teacher. It's actually vital that you tell people that you're new and don't walk in thinking that you know it all. And people will give you grace if you don't pretend that you're a know it all. And people are really receptive to authenticity. Next, share your story. So, creating a platform for people to see your work, your honesty, and your heart. And people don't want to know, people want to know why you did it in the first place. So, what did you heal through the process? And I don't fully resonate with the super strict, vegan, um, rigid type. And I think that's why I was so drawn to Rada in the first place, because she was teaching at a festival, which is right up my alley. So I like to be wild and connect to other human beings. I like to make mistakes and learn from them. I like to twerk. I love to go to festivals. And we can still do that and practice and teach yoga, but we have to do it authentically, right? Invest in yourself. That's my next step, my next tip. Hire a coach. Keep investing in your continuing education. So the 200-hour only scratches the surface. So dive deeper into the material and keep a beginner's mind and remain the student always. That includes giving yourself time for your practice. Practice, practice, practice. Next, you don't need thousands of dollars to create a clear website. Squarespace and WordPress are user-friendly, and you can develop your own website. There's plenty of online tutorials. And where can people find your classes? Where can people see your offerings? And I've heard that many of you on this call are probably not only teaching yoga, you have other magic to offer the world. So where can we learn about that? And if you guys also want to drop your Instagram too in the comments here, I would love to give you a follow, or if you have a website, send it my way, and I'd love to check you out too. Network, all right? The only reason I shared my story in the beginning was so that you could hear all of the ways that I networked. You have to really use your resources and the people that you already know. Also, don't be afraid to meet new people, make connections, get the business card, and follow up with people. Get that face-to-face interaction. Most people who have come on our retreats are people that we already know. And our web designer used to be our Dutch Bros employee. She now lives in Ohio, and everything that we do together is virtual. So you can do a lot of this virtually. You don't need somebody to be in person to do a lot of this web work. I connected with the Trova Trip company through our lawyer, who helped us sell our Dutch Bros business and then helped us create Be Zen Wellness. And I bet you know someone who ... right? You know a lot of people too, just like all of us in this group right now. Take action. So people you're close to are going to ask you for things. People are going to want your services, and people are going to drop hints. One girl recently was like, I wish that you had a video that I could practice some breathing techniques with you on Instagram. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And then now it's live. I've got some Nadi Shodhana pranayama on there because somebody asked for it and I took action on it. Use those things as a way to pave your way if it feels true and in alignment with yourself. So I wouldn't have created a separate Instagram if someone didn't give me the hint to do so. And I wouldn't have hosted my first retreat if my friend didn't invite me to join her. It's up to us to take action on those invitations and hints from others. And people are not likely to keep bugging you about it. So when they give you that one hint, write it down and take action when you can. Next, it doesn't hurt to ask. Ask, ask, ask. I have been told no many times, And I can tell you all about those things on a separate call. And I've also not heard anything in return. So, no news sometimes feels worse to me than getting a no answer, right? Responding with a no. But that's okay because I've learned and had a lot of coaching and I've learned and know my worth now. It's important for all of us in the business for you to charge for your services. So, for all of us in the yoga industry and in this like energetic realm, it's important that we charge. COVID-19 is currently a slight exception. We're all trying to help and be of service right now. And I think it's great that there's so many people stepping up, doing lives, doing donation-based classes. That is also part of our service right now. But how are we all supposed to make money if and have people value us if we're all doing it for free? People won't just throw their money around. You have to ask them. So create a pricing sheet for your offerings so that you know right off the bat what you're going to be charging. So my energy work, PEMF therapy, my private yoga sessions and groups yoga sessions all have a set price. And if people want to purchase a bundle, I also offer a discount. So knowing your set price and set your price and follow through with that. Next, be consistent. So when we created the website, we needed a reason for people to check in and come back, right? And that's why we have a blog so people can keep going back to the website. And we create a new blog post nearly every other week. So 2 times a month, we have a new blog post. And our mailer, with no exceptions, every Tuesday, you get something in your inbox. So that consistency is really important, especially in the online world. And each blog and newsletter has a call to action. It's called a CTA. So check out our blog post for more information, or reply to this email, or comment and reply and share this post. That's a call to action. So people kind of need to be told what to do, and the message needs to be clear, especially online. So have an opt-in. This is the next one. So why would people want to receive our emails in the first place? How do we get people on our list? Why should they subscribe? So our opt-in, having a freebie is really important, especially if you are going to be diving into this online world. So our freebie is 4 free yoga videos that come into your inbox, and they're beautifully filmed. It's probably a little bit excessive than what the average person would actually put out there. Maybe it could be your top tips on how to use essential oils, or how can you do energy work on yourself, or my top 10 breathing techniques, something like that. But you want to entice somebody to subscribe. Now, if you see, I'm talking directly to you. This is a really important point. So if you are making any posts on Instagram or on Facebook, or you're FaceTiming your friends, or you're on Zoom, look at that dot on your computer or your phone. Talk to the people. Don't sit and just stare at your face, because that looks awkward and it doesn't feel like you're actually talking to your people. So look at the dot on your computer screen and get some professional photos taken of yourself. So I've had a lot of amazing photographers and people that are just wanting to take photos and get practice. So I've had a lot of photos taken of me for free. And then I've also invested quite a bit of money in professional photography for some of the photos that you'll see on our website. But get some photos taken of yourself. It's really important. We got somebody else coming in. And we're almost finished. Get insured and seek legal counsel. This is very important. And I stressed it in the beginning of our talk, especially if you're creating your own LLC or studio space. We are working with real human beings. We're working with their bodies. So this coverage is very, very important and part of the profession. Now, here's the icing on the cake. I'm so excited about this. I reached out to a few of my mentors and asked them for their input. And I was like, hey, I'm presenting to a group of people. What is some advice that you would give anybody in the yoga industry? And my coach, Karen Gillen, here's a quote from her. The people aren't going to force all the practitioners to charge more. We have to ask. It's the thinking, the belief that it's not possible that's holding the whole industry back. It's what's possible for us. What do we want it to look like? What are we committed to for creating for our what are we committed to creating for ourselves and our own business? What is sustainable? What is your belief system around money? Really important. Benjamin Wilkinson, a studio owner here in town who also has an online presence and Patreon, he says, don't change your messaging online. Keep your same message that you share in the classroom in the online world. Now, this one is, it's challenging to be in front of a camera and to teach Zoom classes versus to real humans in the flesh, right? We all want to teach to real humans in the flesh, but sometimes that's not possible. And we've noticed and seen that Zoom and other avenues really bring people together. So I'm able to talk to you in a completely different time zone right now and able to connect with you. This is fantastic. So don't change your messaging or your personality. Keep your personality shining. From Freedom Chervallo, she is one of my doTERRA leaders, and she says, be authentic, clean, and clear in the online sphere. Teach authentically, only teach what you practice, and never feel like you have to teach something that you don't practice in order to appear worthy, professional, etc. Teach in your authenticity. We magnify when we're in our authenticity. Elena Brower, she's an author, yoga, and leader in doTERRA. She says, make sure you have a few other revenue streams. And she told me, she's like, people aren't gonna like when I say that, but make sure you have other revenue streams. So personally, our main source of revenue was Dutch Bros Coffee. It was not me teaching yoga. So I have to be really authentic there with you guys. And Elena has a lot of other streams of income. She says, be fully immersed, study, practice, and make sure that you have plenty of personal news to report as you teach. Take seriously the business aspects, ask for what you're worth, and never settle for less. Make sure that you're doing some service, but be sure to ask what you're worth so that you can still be philanthropic and so that you can give what you feel like giving in any circumstance. And don't hesitate to find a mentor, someone you can talk to monthly, quarterly, so that you can ask questions. Collect your questions and run your ideas past them. And last but not least, from our fearless leader, Marissa Rada Webner. She gave us a lot of good nuggets here. Networking and having a mindset of collaboration versus competition, and reaching out to those that are doing similar things to you or that you're inspired by, and making a connection and a friendship versus feeling afraid or like there's not enough to go around. It's more of an abundance mindset. Let's do this together versus scarcity. Like there's not enough to go around and I have to fight for mine and I have to take from you. So we have to eliminate that mindset. There is abundance here. Follow your heart and follow your energy. What helps you to feel charged and excited? Notice what lifts you up and what feels dense and heavy. There's a nuance there where there can sometimes be a trigger or fear that's bringing up, particularly when we're dealing with playing bigger and the inner critic or past traumas that we want to be healed or that need to be healed. So sometimes the energy of a trigger getting activated is a great opportunity to lean into something, particularly when it's related to a limiting belief or an old story or pattern that's holding us back. And what ties into that is stepping out of your comfort zone, right? Stepping out of your comfort zone. Many of us, particularly women, who are such givers and healers, We sell ourselves short and might not know how to receive and stand tall on our own or our power and our worth. It's a step-by-step learning to do that through practice and time and healing work, and maybe getting a good coach that can help you with that, and believing in yourself and having your crew around you that believes in you too. Okay, those are my nuggets, you guys. So I'm going to check the chat box here. And if anybody wants to unmute and ask questions, I would love that. And we're still recording just so we can get the questions.
I have a question for you, Brittany.
Yes.
In your brand handout, what's the difference between your brand promise and the mission statement?
That's a really great question. Let's see here. I'm gonna open it up. So the promise is what you're going to receive from our work. So this is what we're doing. And then the mission statement is like our overall mission. So the promise is what you're going to receive as a client. So we're going to help compassionate leaders learn radical self-care through these modalities. And then the mission statement is we assist leaders on their path to living vibrantly to change the trajectory of their business, their people, and their lives. So it's our mission, but the promise is what you're going to get from our brand. That makes sense. And maybe I'm just talking out my ass here too. So I can also look up the difference too from Liz Dennery Sanders, since I'm not a branding pro. Thanks, Robbie. Anybody else?
Do you teach locally at all at any local yoga studios?
I do. I've been mostly a sub, and I teach at this studio that actually works around my schedule. So we were traveling a ton in the last year. So getting into a consistent teaching schedule was really difficult for me. But I did have one studio that would work around my schedule, and I would have, I would teach like twice monthly there. And it's really great too to teach locally. But for me, it wasn't in alignment for me to teach at multiple studios, but I am on a sub list at a couple of other studios as well.
How were you able to get into that?
Into what?
How did you get on a list to be able to sub or teach at the yoga studios?
So from already knowing the teachers, so the owner of the one studio that I sub at was actually in my yoga teacher training program, the same one that I was in. So I knew her personally, and I also practice at the studio. So if you show up and practice at the studios, that's really a great way for you to get your foot in the door. But if you were just to randomly show up and they might not know you, that might be a little bit difficult. So making your way to the different studios is really, really great, and receiving people's teaching. And I think that that's where some of the teachers have a difficult time, is they get so into teaching mode and then they forget about receiving. So there's only one other teacher in town that I've received yin yoga from. And since I teach yin, I hunt down her classes so that I can receive yin. And I think it's important to really receive people's teachings and get to know them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brittany.
Hi, Jenny. Hey, girl. You too.
Hey, so I've been helping with teacher trainings, and I noticed that people that are new really get frustrated because it seems like a lot of them want really overnight success. And how do you recommend networking? I mean, for me, it was like teaching 15 classes a week and really putting myself out there, and, but like, what do you think is the best way to network, to create that?
So what's funny is I've been told that I'm like a natural manifester. I've had my human design done, and I'm not a manifester. If any of you have done the human design, has anyone done it? Yeah, I see some head nods. You can actually find out your human design by using your birth date, time, and place you're born. So it's similar to getting your chart read, but it also shares a bit about personality. So anyway, I've been told that I'm a natural manifester because I'm just excited to meet people, no matter if they're the studio owner or they're Elena Brower or it's Jenny or Robbie in my yoga teacher training. Like I love getting to know people, and I think that that's really the best way is to show up and show your face, because otherwise people aren't going to know who you are, right? So because Jenny, did you find yourself getting exhausted teaching 15 classes a week and running all over the place?
Oh yeah, it made me insane.
Right? I
But
don't
it was
know how
also,
teachers
I
do it.
considered it like grad school. It was good, you know. I was like, I can do this for a couple of years. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's how a lot of teachers are earning their money, and exhausting. It's exhausting because we all need to receive the teaching too, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that being a part of different studios, especially if you're wanting to network locally, get to know the different studios in town and just show up. It doesn't have to be every single day, but make your way around to the different studios. And are you talking about more networking to have teaching opportunities
More to get
or
clientele, I think. I mean,
clientele for like
yeah.
private sessions or?
Well, like I'm doing yoga retreats too, and it's the same for me. I haven't had strangers come on my retreats. It's always people that know me and are regulars in some form or another, or went on a past retreat with me. But you know, when you're first starting out, how do you get that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's really using the network that you're already a part of, because I know a lot of people, they're not just starting out as yoga teachers. So you worked for a business prior. Crystal, I'm sure that you have other people that you worked with and are currently working with in your previous business. And so reaching out to people and letting them know like, hey, I'm now a certified yoga teacher, and I'm offering this amazing retreat. Are you interested? Or maybe, do you know anybody that's interested? Could people, because the way that you can get the word out also is reaching out to one person and asking them to share that with other people. And that's really how this like whole web gets created, right? The sharing and then having somebody else share. And my first retreat was actually a bit smaller, but really documenting what you're doing is important. So this last retreat was the first time I actually got video and photos taken professionally. But I had, everybody was taking pictures on their iPhones, and we pulled together a cool little video that my brother-in-law took. And how can people see what you guys have done? So people need to see it to know that it's real. And the people that have been, you need to get testimonials from them, written ones that you can share on your site. And maybe there's this last retreat, we actually got video testimonials that we'll share. So people are standing in front of a camera and offering a video testimonial. But for people to share their testimonial is really huge. So for, say, Crystal that's doing like Reiki work, somebody who has had a really great experience from her, she needs to get a testimonial. The first person that I worked on PEMF therapy, my first client, I'm like, hey, I need a testimonial right away. So when you can get those testimonials built up and people can see them, it's really important. Let's see what else. Does anybody have any input on how, like, I know Robbie, you're teaching a lot. Do you have input on networking and getting to know other people?
So it's funny because how I was telling you, my greatest fear is staying in the role of being unseen and unheard and to support somebody else rather than myself. So I'm in the process of actually moving through all of that in this very moment. And I can tell you, it's so funny because I could have a lot more going on if I just did one extra thing. And the extra thing is asking all of my friends, hey, I'm doing this thing, and it would mean the world to me if you could support me and share this with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
That one
And
thing I know would just.
so Gary Vee, have you guys heard of Gary Vee?
I have
Okay, so if you guys check out our website, we have all these business books, and my husband like, "Ah, these are lame. They're not quite fully in alignment with Bees and Wellness," and it's all books that we read while we were running Dutch Bros. And I think Dutch Bros is just like the perfect example. Like, we are offering a service to people, and the service is a cup of coffee, right? And to some people, that is, to a lot of people, that is like fucking gold, right? And you give somebody one free drink, maybe they use their stamp card, they get one free drink, they are going to rave. It just like changes their day. And it is like this small act of kindness. And so it's in giving that we receive. It's in being in service that we receive. So, Robbie, I know that you have been in so much fucking service and you have given a ton. And then we have to ask. And Gary Vee, bringing it back to him, he calls it the jab, jab, right hook. So the jab, jab within our business is those 4 free yoga videos that you get when you sign up for the newsletter. And you're getting this like beautiful content. And then maybe I'm going to send an email too about our welcome home retreat. And that's the ask. Like, you've already received 4 free classes. So now I think it's appropriate for me to say, hey, would you like to, are you interested in this? And everybody can say yes or no. They don't have to, people can say no. And it's about getting that little bit of thicker skin to be able to hear the no answer and be okay with it and still be their friend and still love them. And they know that they can tell you no and that you're still going to love them too. So Jenny, yeah, back to the networking, like what can you give, and also asking. So if people are wanting to, give me a specific example, Jenny.
What do you mean?
I mean, did I answer the networking question?
Yeah, I think so. I'm like you. I just love human beings, like every human being. Like, I want to hear everybody's life story, and I think that just works. That's why I have so many really regular people that, follow me. But not everyone's like that, and I just see these new students coming out of our studio, and so many of them are frustrated, and you like see all their internal struggle, and so often it's self-deprecating, limiting beliefs, right, blocking it. But I'm just thinking, and like, say you move to a new town and you don't even know anyone, and like, so I think you said good, just to network, just to go to the different studios, take the classes, show up for yourself, for sure. And I think what you said earlier too, authenticity is everything. Like, you don't have to be a perfect yoga teacher, and you don't have to have the Patanjali memorized. You just have to have a sincere heart and be a student and be studying, and it just happens, I think, when you do that.
And get them in and out safely too. That's important. Like, we're really being genuinely caring for the safety and security of our clients is so important. And
Yes.
when they know that you care about that, they can really trust you.
Hey, Brittany.
So,
would you add on the thread of what we just learned with Rainbow Eric as well? That maybe teaching the new students how to come more into their body would be really helpful for them to network. Because if we can remind them to come into their body, then they can, I know that's helpful for me, because even though I like people, I also really like to hide in my shell a lot. I'm comfortable here. So I do struggle with that every time I do a service or I do anything or put myself anywhere online, even if it's Waldo, not even my face, or Brad's or whatever. So I know that is really helpful for me, Jenny, is like consistently practicing to come back into my body when I am feeling all of that anxiety about being online.
Mhm.
Don't know.
That's a really amazing tip, and something I've had to learn a lot is groundedness and being grounded and what that really means. And for me, being grounded is like actually physically feeling my body. So before this call, I was, just going through my breath and sitting, feeling my feet. I put essential oils on my feet. And anytime I get up on the screen, I am really grounding in. And it's the same thing when I step into the yoga space is I could, it's really nerve-wracking to teach your first class, right? To step out and just fucking do it. And really using your own breath, because that's what we're teaching, right? We're teaching people to come into their breath. So if we're not doing that as the teacher, it can be real misconnections. So that's really amazing. Good tip, Robbie. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? I really appreciate your guys' presence here today. And I know we went way over 30 minutes, but it's a lot.
I'm just so happy for you. It's so great to see you doing such great things.
Thank you, love. I want to see everybody in person, and I can't wait for us to be able to all get back together, because Sage has something so special. And it felt like me coming home and Jenny, you got to see like one of the yin trainings. I was just laying there crying, and you're like, oh, are those tears? I'm like, yeah. And I'm just so grateful to be here and to be held. And I feel so grateful to actually be immersing with you guys from afar, because I've totally felt a little bit off the beaten path, since I'm different time zone. I'm in Oregon, but there was something that I felt within Rada that I wanted a piece of. And I'm like, man, I wish that I could teach a class like that.
Yeah.
And
I
bringing
bet
people,
you do.
well, thank you. And bringing people back into their souls. It's this like connection. And I would like to say that there's definitely, I've had those experiences here in Eugene at the studios, but it's just so nice to have the opportunity to like broaden and expand like my reach even further, to receive from all those amazing teachers that are there, including all of you. So thank you for receiving me when I've come into the studio.
Oh, well, I love you.
I love you. I love
You too,
all of
Robin.
you.
It's not Robin. Sorry, Robbie. I just called you
Robbie.
Robin.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't listened to Rada's podcasts, they're so good. And there's one, I think her name's spelled, I was just going to tell you about it. Anyway, I think it's what you're talking about, that like there's this Shakti or whatever you want to call it that I think shoots out of Sage and is on all of us that go there, that really is something that transcends time and space, and like when I did a retreat in Costa Rica in October and talked to Rada a lot before that, and she said, just call on us, we'll be there with you, because this was my first big one. I had way too many people. I was so nervous, and I don't get nervous really. And so anyway, but when she said that, she's like, even put a picture of us on your altar, like we're so connected, guys. Like, it's so cool. I mean, I always just think, my Sage people, I'm with you, be with me, it's so cool.
It is so cool. It's a really amazing network of people, and what she has built with the collaboration is really special. My first teachers, they were not big collaborators. I'm just pulling everybody's email off the chat here and multitasking. But, that's what really drew me, is that collaboration, because we all have something special to offer and we all can't do it all, right? Yeah. So finding your niche or something that you really can offer, and I'm still exploring that myself, but just putting yourself out there, teaching, offering what has worked for you and what has helped you on the healing journey is invaluable. It's really invaluable.
I
So,
think, and just recognizing you don't have to do it like anybody else. Like, I really
right.
I don't want a website. I don't want any, like, I literally haven't done anything but use my network and emails and Facebook and Instagram.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, just because and that's probably just because I'm intimidated by technology, but also I kind of want to go back to the old school, trust the universe. I mean, I guess you can have a website and trust the universe too, but you know what I mean? Like, I like things really simple.
Simplify.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's cool. Anyway.
Anything else?
You guys are awesome.
You are awesome. I'm going to stop the recording here.